Hey nerds, and welcome to Flash, Theories and Conspiracies. I'm your host Brian from Good Nerd Bad Nerd, and this week we had the Season 3 premiere of Flash with Flashpoint. And this is something that the show's been building to in my mind since the very end of Season 1. It's been very, very cool. It's a great comic and storyline if you're not familiar with it. We only got a taste of what really happened in the comic, but if you want a quick refresher, like I said before, go check out the Flashpoint animated series. It's really good. It just kind of gives you a taste of what really happens in the comic, but definitely worth checking out. And I like the way the show did it. I like that they only gave us one episode in the kind of alternate timeline, because the problem if you stay in that alternate timeline too long and then Barry goes back to change everything back to the way it was, is too much time there feels wasted. And the writers knew this, and they only gave us that one episode, but that's all we needed. So that was great. I'm glad they did that. Now, things that were interesting or important in this episode: Cisco, there's a lot of speculation that he actually remembers the original timeline, whether it's subconsciously or maybe it's just a feeling. He's getting a vibe and he doesn't even understand it. But the basis is we have no way of knowing if anyone in this universe has been killed by the rival with a vibrating hand through the chest. But that is definitely the way that Cisco was stabbed in one timeline from Reverse Flash, from Ebord Thawne. So there's speculation there that that's what's happening, and that fits with his powers, that he can kind of tap into the multiverse and other timelines and things like that. Now, other things that are kind of nice comparisons between the Flashpoint timeline and then Season 1, we had the Weather Wizard as Barry's kind of first supervillain, and the rival was called some sort of Weather Wizard after he was making those tornadoes, which is something else Barry had to deal with dealing with tornadoes and doing kind of that reverse funnel run. But then another great thing, and this goes directly into the rival. The rival was actually called the Golden Age Reverse Flash, and the Season 1 villain was the Reverse Flash. So that takes us into the rival, the Golden Age Reverse Flash. He was originally a rival of Jay Garrick. His name is Edward Claris, and he hated Jay Garrick in much similar way that Eobard Thawne hated Barry. But the reason Edward hated him is because he feels that he was the one that created the Speed Force equation that allowed Jay Garrick to tap into the Speed Force. Now, he eventually would do it and made his own take on it, and his powers eventually wore out, and then he got him back and just kind of vanished for a while. But he was brought back as kind of a pure Speed Force energy kind of being. So very cool. We're not going to see him again because he's kind of a strange character, and he's too close to what Ebord Thawne is for him to be a recurring villain. So I doubt we're going to see the rival ever again. But you know, the writers have gone full comic book crazy on us, so who knows what can happen. But this takes us to the fallout from this episode. What can we expect moving forward? And there's some really big things that come into play here. First, Ebord Thawne is still alive. Because he didn't get stuck in the past, he didn't kill Nora and Harrison Wells, and he didn't put on that whole charade ending with his death when Eddie killed himself. So Harrison Wells is still alive, Nora Wells is still alive, Eddie is most likely still alive. But beyond that, it's possible that Harrison also never recruited Caitlin and Cisco to be a part of Star Labs. So without even realizing it, Barry has still kind of destroyed his team. Now, we don't know what the issue is with Joe and Iris, but I'm sure it's going to come up. It probably has something to do with his mom, but we don't know. With her mom, excuse me. But this also just raises some other questions. Did the particle accelerator actually explode? If not, there's still a possibility for kind of a second metahuman explosion, and this could be what causes Wally to get his powers and become Kid Flash. Now, the other thing that is interesting to note is because Nora and Harrison aren't dead, this is how we're going to get Jesse back in the show. We're not going to have Earth 2 Jesse coming and paying a visit. I'm pretty sure that Jesse is going to be Earth 1 Jesse, and that's with that same kind of particle accelerator explosion that's going to give Wally his powers. I feel like that's how she is going to get her Jesse Quick powers. So that's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, that doesn't even go into do the metahumans currently exist? What about Grodd? He was in Earth 2 when the timeline got rewritten. So is he still there? Did that ever happen? There's going to be a lot of things that have to be explained, and I personally can't wait to see what happens. So what do you guys think? Tell me what you think about Cisco and if he subconsciously knew what was happening and with the vibrating hand stab through the chest. What do you think about the fallout? And tell me your theories on what happened between Joe and Iris. So until next week, guys, this has been Brian from Good Nerd, Bad Nerd, and this has been Flash, Theories and Conspiracies.